Oh, now you fucked it up. You had it right a minute ago. I don't think you don't need a close up of an old guy.
No.
Before you had it just right.
What about now?
A bit further.
I can't go back any further.
Okay, oh, that'll do. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
you wouldn't want to piss around anymore with
red dot there.
Yeah. I wouldn't tempt fate. Okay.
I don't.
What?
I was going to suggest you drop the sunglasses.
Oh, why's that?
Because we want to see your eyes.
No, you don't want to see my eyes. Right. Okay.
Right. You scented.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, you can't do any better than that.
Okay. That's good.
Well,
you don't have to look at it.
If you did it, what I'm saying is that that's the best thing. I won't be looking at it, of course.
Yeah.
But looking at it that way.
Yeah.
I think you couldn't do any better.
No.
And I think the perfect could drive out the good.
Can you see a red dot there?
Yeah.
Just tell me when a red dot disappears.
Oh, it has to disappear.
Because after 15 minutes, it will disappear.
Oh, right.
In fact, I'll time that.
Well, hopefully we don't go 15. No one wants to see more than 15 minutes of two old blokes talking.
That's right.
Cheers.
Thanks,
right.
Kevin.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So where I'll start is the fact that we're both grandfathers, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
So so what I was thinking about is, as senior men, as elder statesmen,
wise men.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. What do you see as our role? Going forward. Have we got a part to play in the development or the education now of these kids coming through?
Well, there was I based a lot of my life on what I learned back in the days of when I was a businessman with my own business.
Yeah.
And the business I was in involved a lot of self-help, a lot of cassettes, back in the days of cassettes.
Yeah.
And motivating, because without the motivation, you don't have anything. You don't even get out of bed.
Yeah.
And the concept they had there was a thing called working your downline.
Yep.
What that meant was, don't worry about yourself, worry about the people under you, the people that follow from you, that report to you. And you basically, your job is to sort of, in a way, get out of their way, but provide whatever support you can. And that's what I find I want to do. I don't want to be in their face. I can't live their life for them.
Yeah.
But I can be someone in the background helping out where possible.
And presumably it's all about being a positive influence, right?
Positive, yeah, and positive role model more than flapping the gums and telling them. No one wants to be told what to do.
Yeah. Well, it's becoming a reality as you get older, isn't it?
Indeed.
Bloody hell!
Nobody wants to have some old timer come
digger,
up and tell them how to live their life.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things have changed.
Yeah.
What was relevant for me, if I was going to the beach to take a transistor radio, not take a tranny with me to the beach, but take a transistor radio to the beach.
What's that, Grandad?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Well, in fact, that's actually a very relevant thing, because sometimes you'd be going to the beach, you'd pack your towels, your swimmers, and someone would say, have you got the tranny packed with you? And I'd say, hang on, I'll go and grab it. Okay. But now you'd probably be thinking differently. And then if I look back even since then, to keep on the technology, remember they'd be saying, are you going out on a walk, are you? Have you got your Walkman with you?
Yeah.
And now if you said that to a child, if you're to a teenager, you say, have you got a Walkman?
Yeah, they think they're talking about a walker.
Yeah, they say, what do you mean a Walkman? Are you trying to be some cool dude? You're going to go on a Walkman. No, I mean, are you taking music? Are you wired for sound?
Yeah, that's it.
So things are different. So that's why I think, to hand over to you in a minute, I find that I don't think I have the answers to a young person today.
No.
Because they're living in a different world.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I can't provide help where possible.
Yeah, well, it's the other thing. Like, like they always talk about education being a key thing. So, as a grandparent, are we supposed to give over a a blank checkbook and say, well, this is for the child's education, but which probably leads to a bigger point. What type of education are we talking about? Like, what sort of things would they be learning in university? And my wife works in aged care, and she had a woman that passed away recently, and her last words were, "Yay, I never had to use algebra."
That's right. Yeah. Well, I mean,
she went through her entire life.
And you raise an interesting point. Where that lady that you describe, she got to live in dignity and pass away
with a joke.
Passed away with a joke. And pass away, gently into the night.
Yep.
Whereas again, we're talking about how technology. Back in my day, I remember going to see my great grandmother. She was 98 years of age.
Yeah.
And all of us filed in to see her, and she was there, propped up in a bed. She was obese and was unable to move, but she had been well cared for by the staff, by nurses. But in our modern era, because of technology, even within the last week, we've had a case of an old lady of 95 years of age, a woman with 8 children and 20 grandchildren and another 5 or more great-grandchildren. This woman, getting on in years, was tasered to death by a policeman.
I've read about that.
Yeah. So back in the days of my great-grandmother, I mean, she was obese and she had trouble getting out of bed. She was in no risk of being tasered to force her to get out of her bed. She was treated with dignity. I think nowadays we don't respect our elders as much, and they can find themselves writhing in agony with electric prods in their body.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's something we can learn. I think we can do better for our older people.
Yeah.
Because without them, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah. Well, and also the other thing is like education. Like, we're from a background of IT, and some of the we've been on projects where I found some of the more what I call negative resources are some of these guys who went to like a private school, because they would have what I call this like air of superiority, and they would be like, it seemed to be their role would be like it's almost like a captain negative role, where they would be pointing the finger and questioning everything that's going on without actually offering anything positive or like an alternative pathway that we could be doing something better. All they seem to be doing is just criticise.
And they
kind of turned that into an art form. Sorry, go.
No. Surely you went to a private school?
No.
Oh, I thought you did.
Well, I was in the zone for a no. It was a good school, but we didn't pay any. In New Zealand, they don't pay extra fees. I
got the feeling that you were in a privileged.
It was a privileged situation, but I didn't. I suppose I didn't carry on with it and go to a whoop-de-doo university. I joined the military.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's why I'd possibly recommend that to a young person, because the military is such a jolt to the system that it offers a kind of different lifestyle. That is difficult to replicate. So I'm glad of the experience, but there certainly was a time where I'd had enough of being
University of life.
Yeah, and I met a lot of interesting guys. Like, you're right, in my privileged school that I had, in New Zealand, I never ever actually met anyone from the Pacific Islands or like an Indigenous person, which is crazy. How can you be in New Zealand but it was only when I joined the military where I actually met and befriended. In fact, one of the guys was almost like my soul brother.
That's right. Yeah.
It's this Maori guy called Joseph Nukunuku. Yeah. Yeah, he was like my best buddy.
That's right.
So it's again that's part of my life experience.
Yeah. Well, someone from that background, he's from the soil.
Yeah.
He's in his own. Where people like you and I are immigrants here, even though we may be 4th or 5th generation, we're not from this soil. So that maybe makes some difference. In that, because again, this is a thing we bequeath to our grandchildren. We talk about grandchildren.
Yeah.
And in my case, I have two granddaughters. Their heritage is Maori heritage.
Okay, yep.
Through their father. So, although I hail from the British Isles, and in a way have no right by birth to this, or by heritage to this country, or to these areas, to this part of the world, my granddaughters have now married into that, or been born into that.
Yep.
So they, not necessarily in Australia, but certainly they went to New Zealand. They could find themselves eligible to lay claim to fisheries. Mm-hmm. They potentially could lay claim to someone's home, to the land under the home, not the home.
Yeah.
Through their birth, but that's another thing where you don't know. No one can predict the future.
No.
So laws change. 1 minute one group is up, the next minute they're down. So it's good to have a foot in many camps.
Yeah.
I've got background in probably 20 different nationalities.
Yep.
And I could call, depending on how things go, I could call on that heritage. I have Scottish, English, Danish. I've got Jewish heritage.
Yeah.
I potentially could have Indigenous. When I did my family tree, there's a gap. I strongly suspect that's Indigenous and that I'm Indigenous.
Okay.
I can't prove it, but then very few can. So I'm probably similar to some of these famous identities on television who, take part in smoke ceremonies and welcome to country. I potentially have that right because I can't prove or disprove that gap in my family tree. It looks like one of my great grandparents, possibly during the mining boom in the Ballarat, may have, who knows, I could have been involved with an Aboriginal woman who could be my great-great-grandmother. I don't know, but no one can know. That can't be proved. So this is the thing. We're a melting pot. One thing I like about Australia is it's possibly the biggest melting pot in the world. Yeah. I think more than even in America. Yeah. Because the USA, it seems very divided. It seems like there are ghettos. It seems that you could go to an area, you could go to a town in the south, maybe, and there might be only good old boys. Yeah. What they call the rednecks there. I might go to, say, Chicago. I might go to a suburb in Chicago. I may only see there African Americans. I might go to another area where I might find a whole different group of people, American Indians. I might go on an Indian reservation. It's still, we've got the red light there. Yeah. I might find myself on a Native American casino where I could be rolling the dice or on the roulette wheel, putting the dollars into the hands of these dispossessed original Americans. Yeah. Doing the right thing while potentially winning money for myself. A win-win. Yeah. So these are the things that I, this is the sort of knowledge that I could impart to my my grandchildren.
Well, I know we've touched on this before, but when I think of education, I can only think of my own education. I think there's nothing much really in my school days that I grabbed hold of that's of value.
Yeah. You must have had to learn to socialise.
Yeah, I suppose so, but that wasn't really on the school curriculum as such. As this woman said, I've never had to use algebra. What was the point of me learning algebra and the cosine rule and all that stuff? I'm not too sure. Anyway,
you don't need to anymore because of computing. And the other thing too, that where in some ways I envy the younger generation, and you talk of education, the children of today, children who are alive today, not children of the future, but your grandson, my granddaughters, they are going to have a thing called personal mentorship. The most superior education in the history of the human race was that was used in ancient Greece, back in the days of Athens, when people like Aristotle, Plato, they were tutored literally one-on-one by a wise adult.
Okay.
There was no going to a classroom.
This is good.
There was no going to a classroom.
So you're telling me through artificial intelligence that can be simulated?
It's already happening.
Yeah.
Because what you already are going to have, and what is coming up with ChatGPT 5 probably would be the one where it kicks off, is that a child will basically have their own personal teacher that will draw on every piece of knowledge ever in the history of the human race.
Yeah, well, there's a lot.
Everything, whether it's history, philosophy, geography, you name it. That oracle, basically, will be an oracle, their own personal oracle, will have all that information, and it will then basically talk in a human voice and a caring voice to that child.
Yeah.
And it will learn. It will know every. It will. Oh, it's gone off.
Okay.
That's a shame. I was on a good roll then.
Okay. No. Okay. Is it back on now?
It's beeping. So we don't know where that went off.
No, we don't. That's the thing. It stops at 15-minute intervals by itself. But
all right.
Yeah, I know that's a bit strange. But keep on going.
Well, not till it's coming on.
No, it should be going.
It's beeping though. It has to stop beeping, doesn't it?
No.
It has to go still, doesn't it? Just be a dot.
No, that's going.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Now is that centralised?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I think to just recap, as I was saying, the teaching of not of the future, we're probably already just starting now, but so we're talking about within the next 12 months and onwards, right? Is that every child will have their own
personal mentor. It'll probably be named. It'll probably be literally, although it's part of a giant connected web of AI. Yeah.
It'll be focused down, and it'll be, let's say you've got a young son. The son will have Uncle Harry. They'll say, Uncle Harry's going to be training you, son. So who's Uncle Harry? Well, he's in the computer, or he's in the cloud, but he's going to be looking after you, really, and watching over you in a way like a guardian angel.
Okay.
But
you could spec the parameters of how, what sort of things, that you want to drive this young person.
No, because that would defeat the purpose.
Oh, okay, but so it's open-ended.
How could you, a mere human, and unless you're going
but if you're the parent of this child, haven't you got the say of what direction you want this personal mentor to drive? I know, but does the personal mentor then? Do we leave it up to that? Can't we give us some parameters?
What? So you're going to say, you're going to be a Dalai Lama, you're going to be King Harry.
Okay, well, you could say, well, things like, I used the example of algebra before. You can take that off. You don't have to teach my child algebra. You can put an X against that.
Well, hang on. The AI knows everything about you.
Yeah.
It already knows everything about you, your wife.
I know, but it's not going to teach this kid
DNA.
every single thing.
No, what I'm saying, you're missing.
That's available.
Your problem is that you're a human. You're limited by very narrow thinking, little thinking. We call it little thinking, right? Here's the thing, and this is what happens, unfortunately. The history is full of kids whose parents said, "You're going to be a stockbroker like your grandparents. You're going to be in law."
So you're telling me that this AI thing is able to adapt and recognise, okay, well, this kid is actually showing promise in a certain field. I'm going to push now to explore that a bit further.
The AI knows when you key in. First of all,
because it's also acknowledging facial response. So
let's hold back a bit here. You know that within the next 12 months, by the UN and WEF. Driven by they say there'll be another pandemic anytime soon, and also they want to manage travel because of climate change. Coming within the next 12 months, we're all going to be ID'd.
Yeah.
You're going to have probably no access to cash. You're going to have a digital currency.
Is that ridiculous? Yeah, sure.
Surely we'll go more than. Yeah.
No,
So,
I wouldn't want to be talking to an empty camera.
No, it's all going. Yeah.
So if I do that, that's just to make sure that the red dot's still there.
Within the next 12, maybe to 18 months, right? All of us are going to have our own digital ID. It'll be a world one. Won't be just local. We're going to already in China. They're already pricking your finger. Everyone in China already has their own number.
Yeah.
Their own pinprick DNA. Everything, right, is there. So starting, and even before your child is born, your grandchild or your child is born, AI has everyone bagged and tagged. They know where you live, they know your history, they know your DNA, they know the political orientation of your parents, they know everything they've ever put on social media, and everyone who they know on social media. The AI knows that, okay. It knows their wealth because it has your bank details, knows everywhere you've travelled, plus it has all the background of the whole rest of the world. So you've now said, okay, I'm registering my child now for life education. So the AI is going to optimise that child's benefit. It may identify that child is 6'5", and the background of parents very athletic. It might say, well, you know what? I'm going to focus on putting this child into working out, nutrition. I see you as a professional basketballer.
Yeah.
Now, what happened in the past is that there's probably some 6'5" person living in Detroit who never got a chance to go and be in the NBA. They're in the wrong family. Yeah. They only grew up and had to join a gang and sell drugs because of where they were. Or they were lost to the... and then someone else who just happened to be either be noticed by a neighbour or their parents knew people who knew people. They go and become an NFL footballer or an NBA basketballer. And they reap the benefits of all that.
Of their natural talent.
Or some other person, they might be someone who I hesitate to use the term Woody Allen. I hesitate to say Woody Allen because he's discredited.
Yeah.
But someone who looks like Woody Allen.
Yeah.
Someone who's very introverted.
Well, Woody Allen is almost in the same bracket as Jimmy Savile or Rolf Harris, isn't he? He's like. Those guys who are big in the day are just been literally taken off.
But I'm using the Woody Allen as you see him in his films, where he's often, and when he shows a picture of himself as a child, he personally shows a kid with huge glasses, an inch thick, socially awkward, similar to Waldo in that rock song. By Van Halen, Hot for Teacher. You've seen that?
No, I don't follow Van Halen.
Yeah, well, there's a video called Hot for Teacher. It's got two Miss Worlds in it in bikinis.
Okay.
But there's a little kid in there called Waldo, and they're saying, "Shut up, Waldo!" And this kid's being bullied and heckled because he's the class nerd or geek, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you've got this child and that child is through no fault of its own genetics is not very going to be it's not going to win Olympic medals, but might have the IQ of Einstein.
Yeah.
The AI is going to not waste that kid's time on being humiliated in gym, humiliated on the football field, forced to play rugby. You talk about private schools, and they'd force a kid to play rugby, who then gets probably injured, gets their neck broken, when that child could be the next Einstein. This thing knows your IQ, it's continually testing and recalibrating, so it is going to say, right, I'm not even going to waste my time teaching this kid maths. This child is verbal. Has verbal skills so good. That why would I waste my time when they could use a calculator? someone else, they might say, this person has got no verbal skills whatsoever. They literally, their communication skills of an amoeba.
Yeah.
But genius athletics, genius at maths.
Okay, genius.
Literally like a walking calculator. So we're going to focus this person through science.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be an advantage to the world.
Yeah.
Because don't forget too that while AI farms all of the knowledge ever in the world, only the human mind can creatively have a spark to come up with something new out of the blue. You know, the human mind has something that at the moment computers don't have.
Yeah.
Is to suddenly randomly come up with some totally off the wall thing.
Yeah.
The power of AI is its access to all the knowledge of the world.
The current knowledge, the existing knowledge.
All the existing knowledge. It can't have all the existing knowledge that a human to be born 100 years from now.
But then engineer original thought.
That's right. But what the AI will do, it will optimize. Yeah, it'll optimize that human. It will, potentially make us into superhumans. Not each of us.
Yeah.
It'll make our human society.
So it's going to mitigate the risk and then point this kid efficiently to where it needs to go.
Yeah, and so that child, and it'll also be able to, it'll have access to the child's heart rate. You know, there'll be a heart rate monitor, or we'll probably have chips by then. Elon Musk's already putting chips in our mind, in our brain, right? While the computer, with a big smiley face, it'll have a smiley face, because we respond to. It'll have literally a full human face looking at the child during its lesson, smiling,
nodding,
right,
encouraging.
Sometimes frowning a bit if it's getting the wrong idea, furrowed brow.
Yeah.
Not so sure, and staring the child, right?
Yeah, in the, where it needs to go.
An evil guy, say I was Austin Powers, Dr. Evil, may actually would say, oh, well, what could we put electrodes in the child so if it's getting naughty, it'll get a shock.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope that we don't go to those lengths.
No.
I don't think you need to. I think the carrot works better than the stick.
It does.
Okay. In the Greek days of the mentor and mentee, I think the tutor could thrash the child if necessary to keep the child focused.
Yeah, but only in extreme circumstances.
Yeah, that's right. Or if the teacher enjoyed doing that.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's we're going down another path. But so I think with I think that what's going to happen, so the child has the personal tutor. The tutor has quickly identified what the strengths of the child, both sport, physical and mental, and then it's bringing to bear all of the knowledge in the world, plus the new knowledge coming in all the time from all the other humans in the world living right now, not just history, not waiting for history books to be written and then published in 20 years, all the knowledge of the world right now.
Yeah.
Because there's things happening, climate's changing right now.
Yeah.
New viruses are coming now.
Well, it's interesting you say that. I mean, I've never really, with technology now, I can now access information on oceanography. So there's a change. There's in the Pacific Ocean. There's a thing called ENSO, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the El Nino Southern Oscillation, and that's changing. So I want to know. Okay, well, can I dive into that, please, and find out some more information? You can find out more information that you wouldn't know what to. But I won't go into describing what ENSO is, but it's related to, in the Atlantic, they call that AMOC, isn't they?
Yeah.
It's the Atlantic.
No one knows the answer. See, this is it. That's what you know right now.
Yeah.
See, no one knows. Like right now,
well,
they're saying that we should stop eating meat because of the nitrogen of cows.
Yeah.
To stop that.
Yeah.
But that's a long bow.
Well, there's many things contributing to greenhouse gases, isn't
and
it?
Right now, no human brain.
Yeah.
No human brain can encapsulate the complexity of the Earth ecosystem. And anyone who says they can,
but in saying that, that's not to say that we should be sitting on our hands, though.
Yeah, but the problem is that then we do the wrong thing.
So should we just continue as we are?
No,
situation normal.
We should develop a thing called AI, that has the power to have all of this.
So you're telling me you're a supporter of what they call the digital god.
No, God.
So this is like a digital leadership. So all the idiots that we've had before don't know what they're doing. This digital God is going to steer us in the right direction.
God, because a God implies worshipping and following.
Well, if it's all knowing and all conquering.
No. A God is something that you are ordered to worship and adore.
But that would solve everything. If we just put our trust in this thing.
No, that's why I'm calling it an oracle.
Oh, okay. Well, digital oracle.
A digital oracle, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, then yes. Okay.
An oracle.
But it's semantics, isn't it?
No, it's not. The oracle provides you advice. A god smites you down.
Not necessarily.
Yes, it does. If you go to the Old Testament, if you go to Hinduism, you look at some of the evil demon gods in Hinduism, the most violent religions in the world, even more violent in some cases than the Old Testament.
Yeah.
You go to the Old Testament, God's looked down. He saw the men lying with men. Instead of the couples producing the children, because what God always wanted, the God of the old, the old God, the Old Testament, he wanted people to go forth and multiply.
Yeah.
The job, it's off, right?
Okay, so it's off.
Yeah.
Is it back on?
Yeah, back on now. So we go back on.
Yep.
Yeah. So the old God, I believe that AI will be an oracle that will serve us.
Yeah.
That's the difference. See, a God, we serve God.
Well, I think what you're saying is that as human beings, we can't really trust each other because at the top of the shop, I talked about these Captain Negative guys who continue nitpicking and losing what I call the bigger picture.
Yeah, well, you take the human race, and you have to take the human race as a whole. Right? You can forget about tribes where a tribe lived in a valley and only had to fight the neighbouring tribes.
Yeah, and they become self-serving and they lose the big picture.
Yeah, so you forget that because we now live in a global world where we have the power because of nuclear power, because of, we can create now pathogens. We can create a virus. Right now, there are several countries with enough power and knowledge, enough scientific knowledge. We've got, certainly China, the USA for starters.
Yeah.
Possibly India as well, and many other countries probably we don't know about. Any of those countries have the technology and the scientific knowledge right now to create in their lab a virus. Right now, they could create a virus that is much more transmissible than coronavirus, but with an 80 to 90% kill rate. A virus that would spread rapidly right around the world, and you have to, given that we've all evidently had coronavirus, either symptomless or with symptoms. Everyone in the world already.
Well, we've either had coronavirus or the vaccine.
Yeah, or both. But anyway, and that was a first attempt. The coronavirus was their first attempt at this.
Yeah.
They've already refined that and bent that into the next model. So the next virus they release from a lab, and it could be anywhere. It could be China again, Wuhan. It could be America, or it could be a cartel in Mexico. It could be some cartel that have kidnapped a scientist and holding him and his family, at gunpoint. And a lab. These labs cost. It's not like building a nuclear bomb. You can set up a lab for a couple of $100,000 with everything you need in it. So right now, with current technology, human race has the ability to create a virus that never existed before and would probably never evolve. There will be like smallpox on steroids.
Yeah.
Like the smallpox. In fact, no, like the flu, the Spanish flu that wiped out thousands. So they could literally combine Ebola, the Spanish flu, and coronavirus in their lab. They could splice them together and then release them onto probably infect air hostesses and airline pilots. And this virus would be literally engineered, which is already with current technology, to be latent for a month. so it would spread all around the world. No one would know they had it for a month. And then, bang, people would be dropping dead in the streets all around the world within no time at all. Even those people who somehow had been in a remote farm, they'd suddenly find all of the satellites not being supported. They'd find that the grid had gone down. The engineers, the doctors that have dropped dead. So this is what we already have now, and we also have enough nuclear technology. There's enough nuclear weapons right now in China. Who's got them? Pakistan's got them. India has nuclear weapons. Russia has an arsenal of nuclear weapons that could wipe the world out 3 times over. And right now we're poking our finger in the eye of Russia.
We are.
They can wipe out the world times 3. We're relying on them being rational players, and that they won't overreact and just say, you know what, no Russia, no world. Yeah.
And the trouble is, you're not answering to the people of Russia. It's just one guy, isn't it? Because their system of government is the cult of personality, isn't it?
It's not one guy. It's a whole.
Well, it appears to me that Putin is running the show.
No, he's basically he's nothing. He's like Zelensky. Zelensky's not running that thing. No one believes that comedian, an actor, is running Ukraine.
Yeah,
he's a puppet put in there, and Putin as well. Putin he's one guy.
Is there a red button still on?
Oh, yeah, still going. Putin could be taken out by the generals overnight if they wanted to. Those people are ruthless. The only thing right now, he's the only one who's holding them back. I've already seen voices in the back channels I follow where they're saying, let's just unleash a nuke now and teach them a lesson. Let them know we're serious. And he's saying, no, that's silly. Once that starts, you don't know where it ends.
Yeah.
Once he goes, I think it's going to be really dangerous, But anyway, the point I'm not making, I don't want to single them out because there are other things happening right now. While we're looking at them, Israel and Iran could have a nuclear war.
Let's
not single for old Russia.
Yeah, it is supposed to be about the grandchildren after all.
Yeah, but it is about them, whether they had a life.
Okay,
what I'm saying here is, because we're talking about the Oracle, we're getting back to the Oracle.
The Oracle.
I don't trust humans to not have a freaking nuclear war or create a bloody virus that spreads around. I got locked down and had my life disrupted because humans invented a freaking virus and couldn't contain it in the lab.
Yeah.
I've already lived this life, right? And children in America lost 1.5 years of their education.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the Oracle of the AI, it knows all the stuff. I mean, the Oracle right now, so if AI was managing this thing right now, would it fight itself? I mean, right now you've got Zelensky and Putin in Russia, right?
Yeah.
At each other's throats. You've also got Israel and Iran at each other's throats.
Yeah.
You've also got North Korea and South Korea
banging heads
at each other, right?
Yeah.
We're supposed to be the one thing, aren't we all?
Still going?
Yeah. Aren't we all supposed to be the human race?
Yeah.
So how is the human race wanting to wipe itself out?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
70,000 years ago, the population fell to under 10,000, and there were just a group of people that existed in the Rift Valley of Africa. I don't know where this Rift Valley is exactly, but it exists, and it's been scientifically proven that everyone is derived from this, the same people, the same 10,000. So to me, it seems ridiculous. But I wanted to talk about education. One of the things that I thought helped me in my education and understanding of what the world is really about is this song by the Fifth Dimension called The Age of Aquarians.
In My Beautiful Balloon.
No, The Age of Aquarius, where is Let the Sunshine In. Because in that song, it's about
harmony and understanding.
Harmony, understanding, and peace, and it's actually sung by African American people, which is and the fact that it spoke to me, it's what I mean. In that period of time, it sort of cut through all those things. You know, it was men and women in that band, but I was very wrong. I was very cruel. Okay, so if ever I've got, like, if I'm down or feeling disillusioned or something, all I got to do is put that song on, and it immediately impacts my mental health. It turns things around. Listening to that impassioned song delivery by, I think the guy's name is Billy Davis Jr. It's just, to me, but
have you noticed that
what
they have a load of white musicians?
No, I think you're right. I think the music is engineered by white people. Yeah.
No, but they were renowned for being one of the first groups to have a white and black musicians in the same
working together.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But Billy Davis is just mind-blowing. But anyway, I mentioned before about these guys. You're trying to make a feel-good sort of speech. What you don't want. So I'm a dreamer. This is what I think that the potential for life should be.
Yeah.
People working together, aligning together.
You'd like Blue Mink as well, wouldn't you?
But these Captain Negatives will come down and they want to destroy. So I said, hold on. How? Tell me how. And the finger comes out.
Yeah.
Tell me how the moon can be in the 7th house aligned with Jupiter and Mars.
Yeah.
And the finger comes out. Can't happen.
No one's ever said that. I've never. Who would say that?
It wasn't you, but it was told to me that it's that this song is bullshit. I said, well, but
don't they? Wouldn't this person or persons unknown? Would they not have any understanding of how poetry or works and how metaphor works?
Well,
they understand metaphor.
Well, I must admit, I knew nothing about climate change before I saw a film called The Day After Tomorrow. Right. And I said, well, in this film, all this ice is dumped into this Atlantic current, and it triggers off an ice age.
Yeah.
And the same person came back to me with the finger, can't happen, not in that time frame.
Right,
It can't happen. Yeah. I said, well, like that song that you poo-pooed, it's just a metaphor for a bigger picture. You need to stop. You need to step back. And and acknowledge that if that song makes people feel good, then that's a good thing. If that film teaches something about carbon emissions, then that's like an educational tool, isn't it? It's not an exact thing. It's supposed to be part entertainment as well.
Yeah, but surely anyone would understand that.
No, apparently not. No, but these people are linear thinkers. And this is what sometimes, and I suppose that's one of the messages I want to get out, is that sometimes, in the art of just wanting to feel like, the ego or whatever you want to call it needs to feel like the making of, needs to be right, and needs to feel it's something in that person's makeup.
So if they heard the song by Blue Mink, take a pinch of white man, take a pinch of blue blood, take American Indian too. And mix them all together. They would say that. No, you can't do that.
How dare they say a guy with chinky eyes?
I
think that was what a lot of people had issue with.
They had a lot of trouble with that. Yeah.
But you're literally throwing the baby out with the bathwater, aren't you? Because you're losing sight of something.
This is the problem again. This is the problem with what you're describing there. Is there's a phenomena at the moment where people want to go back and rewrite history. Mm-hmm. And so you've got people say, I need to go back to every film where had someone smoking.
Yeah.
Let's go and get Bogey. Let's edit out him smoking.
Use technology to like...
Yeah. They say, hang on. They had this guy, he said, come on, girl, let's go. Toxic masculinity. Let's edit that out, and so you want to go back and say no, because surely that means if I watch a film, say about the gladiators, they wouldn't have any proper swords and they'd probably be hugging each other or something. Can't I watch a historic film? And accept that we don't send people from different religion now to be eaten by lions. Yes, it happened. Yes, it's bad. I don't know that I owe. It's all going. I don't know that I owe reparations to the people who were put in front of lions, fed to lions.
Yeah.
You know, in fact, they're probably my ancestors. You know, not the ones who got eaten, but you know. So this is one of the problems we have. But so I don't know. Getting back to these young people today, they're going to be lucky. They won't have this bullshit because their personal mentor is going to guide them up, you know, and manage them. They're going to grow up like so happy because their uncle so-and-so, Uncle Kevin or whoever they're allocated, is going to look after them and bring them to the fruition of all of their talents.
Yeah.
Not make them be failures. They won't even be about failure because how can you fail when you're maximising your natural talents? You know, no one fails because you're all different. So you won't be, you know, if you look at your traditional classroom, you put 20 kids in a classroom and you got them sat in rows. Teacher comes and speaks out the front of the class. Some kids are distracted and miss some of that lesson. Others are all ears and taking the lesson in. Then you give them a test. They get different scores.
Yeah.
Someone failed. Someone came last.
Yeah.
Smarty came first and got a big star, a gold star.
Yeah.
Already those children are growing up was resentful, arrogant because they were getting the gold star, and then that breeds success.
Yeah.
Because they're good at that. I was in a school where the same kids were getting the gold stars were also winning all the athletic competitions. They become very arrogant people.
Yeah.
And they turn up with the most beautiful woman, you know, and in a mansion, like,
and then,
you know, and they feel that they're superior to someone sleeping rough by a bus stop in a sleeping bag. Are they superior?
I don't know.
They would believe they were.
That's why
But each of those children, the guy sleeping rough with a drug habit on a bus shelter, and the guy with a beautiful, you know, supermodel
East
wife,
European model wife,
each of those was someone's child.
Yeah.
So something's gone wrong. Here comes the oracle. The oracle, you know, instead of like favouring someone who they just happen to be born in a privileged background, this person was just unlucky to be born, you know, maybe left on a doorstep. Maybe the mother literally gave birth in a toilet and dumped this child on a doorstep there and then adopted. You know, I think it's gone off on that. You need to do something about this technology because it's...
is it back on?
No, it's not. No.
Oh,
because this is a limitation, this thing.
What about now?
Yeah, it's back on now.
Yeah. I can't work out how to keep that going. Yeah, after 15 minutes, it stops. I don't know why.
Maybe it's time to invest in a new... You know, because you're a high roller. You know.
Yeah, well, this one's all right. It just keeps on rolling.
Yeah, but you're a high roller. You're bloody not short of a quid, are you?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I can't explain that.
No, but I'm saying it's
probably got a setting.
Throw it in the bin. Get another one of these. You're made of money. You know, come on. You've inherited money.
I'm a senior citizen.
You've got a big, massive pension to come from Suncorp. You're working probably another pension to come from
super from Australia Post.
You've got a super coming from there. You've got Australia Post. You're running the estate of your parents and that. Like,
I tell you what. I tell you what else has been on my radar.
What's that?
During the coronation of King Charles, I noticed he never looked kind of happy. He looked kind of ill at ease.
Have you seen his wife?
Yeah, like the Queen Consort, but apparently she's not the Queen. She's actually the Queen. I thought that. Yeah, anyway, but the point is, so I did a bit of digging on that. See, as you know, I've been an ex-military man. I dug a little bit back to World War I, and I don't know. I knew this, but I didn't know it. That at the time that the fighting commenced. Yeah. All those major powers, they were all first cousins.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
Nicholas II, William II, and King George of the United Kingdom, they're all first cousins.
Yeah.
And ironically, Queen Victoria back in the day thought, well, this is great. I'm going to put all my children out across Europe, and I'll be like the mother of Europe, and it's going to solve conflict because now, because of this. Aristocratic blood, we're just going to problem solve, and there will be no more bloody Prusso-Franken, Crimea War, Napoleonic wars now. That'll be a thing of the past because we'll be able to nut out. But unfortunately, what she didn't take into account that, because Wilhelm II and King George actually met each other as 5-year-olds, didn't they?
I don't know.
And King George,
they all used to go back and forth.
He laughed. Look at Wilhelm with his because he had a disability with his arm.
Okay,
he took the piss out of him, because of his disability, and apparently that was one of the drivers, which ended up being World War One.
Yeah, but Willem II had a cigar named after him, didn't he?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he did.
All I do is I used to work with a German guy who went, World War One and World War Two, both started by Austrians.
Yeah.
I don't know what that meant, but apparently Hitler was an Austrian.
No one knows he was, but nobody knows how these wars started. I mean, they evolved. They evolved.
One thing's for sure: the aristocracy didn't help.
No,
but getting back to King Charles, that's why I reckon he might have had a disquiet, because these guys are relying on public favour, and being an historian like yourself, we know from 1789 in France that things can go very badly for these royal families, can't they?
Yeah, but that was only when the royal family had power. When they had the French Revolution. Yeah.
King Louis' power was absolute.
King Louis had made messed up. The two big reasons for the French Revolution were, one, the money that King Louis had squandered in the American fight for independence. So he literally, in a way, same way as America right now is giving all this money, even though they've got people sleeping rough in America, they're giving billions of dollars to Zelensky to fight Russia. Yeah. And a lot of people in America right now, they don't even have a king in America. A lot of people in America right now are asking the question, why are we literally struggling to pay our rent when we're giving billions of dollars to some country? And I guarantee if I went up to an American on the street and said, here's a piece of white paper, draw Ukraine and Russia on that for me, please. Yeah, and show me where they fit. They couldn't. I can guarantee you not 1 in 100 could do that. I could do it because I'm interested in that stuff. But I say, look, just draw a quick thing of Europe. I want you to show where the Baltic states are, where Poland is on it, where, I don't know that. But, well, you're paying for it. You're paying for it. Yeah. But anyway, so to me, that's the thing. It doesn't need to be. That's the sort of like, human life is like in a way like the stock market. No one controls the stock market. The shares go up and down. And people. If the stock market was predictable, I'd be a millionaire because I'd work out what stock was going to go up double next week, and I'd put all my money on it. Yeah. But so no one controls that. And it's the same thing if you look at the history of Germany, which I've had a look at. It started off. Germany was composed of literally hundreds of independent little dukedoms, little kingdoms all over. It was like a patchwork quilt, and it wasn't just Germany. It was also part of Sweden was part of it. Yeah. At one point, the Swedish were the most thuggish, brutal country in the world. They were coming down and interfering in, the King of Sweden was part of the 30 Years' War, and he came down. They would slaughter whole villages and that. So because the Swedish basically Germans. They were Germanic people. The indigenous Swedish people live up north. They're a totally different thing. But anyway, so all that whole thing of Germany was just like a patchwork quilt of these warring kingdoms and sometimes in alliances and everything. And because they were all divided up like that, France, countries like France that became a whole country, were able to bully the Germans because they could come in and they could pick on this little kingdom, quite small thing. Yeah. So the Germans said, we need to join together and we need to build an empire of iron and blood. that no one will bully us again.
Yeah.
That become part of the German mindset coming through the 19th century. And then if you're the whoever the guy is in charge, Bismarck or whoever happens to be up there in charge, I mean, who even was the king? How could there be a king of Germany?
Well, he was a Kaiser, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, that's a ridiculous thing because there was all these things. They didn't even like each other.
Yeah.
Even as recently in my life.
Bavarians were seen as a basket case, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, when I did my tour of Europe in back in 1980, I was learning German out of a book. I learned the phrases out of a phrase book. And we went to Munich. And we went into this restaurant like it was a beer keller, and we're ordering some lovely meal, meat dish, whatever, and I started using their phrase book, and the German, Bavarian guy, very friendly guy, he said, "Oh, you're Australians, aren't you?" So my wife's New Zealand, I'm Australian. Yeah, he said, "Oh, you go, very friendly guy." And he said, I wouldn't use that phrase book just because this guy could speak perfect English. He said, that's not going to help you here because this is Bavaria.
Yeah.
We've got a different language here. We're different dialect, and everything, that'll be better when you go North Germany. But so there's all these warring factions and alliances in there. And so then they realise, well, we're being left out. We don't have any colonies. The British have colonies. The French have got colonies down in Africa. We're hard workers. We're Germans. They still thought themselves because they spoke German, but they weren't one country. So what I'm getting at is the power of that was a much more powerful than one person.
Yeah.
So one person got in charge, the Kaiser, but he couldn't just say, "Oh, we're now going to. Here's a whole lot of things we're going to change," because he would be assassinated. Even though he's in charge, right?
Yeah.
So he had to do things that was going to be supported by the philosophy and culture of his country. So, and it wouldn't matter if you you could put the son of Queen Victoria in there. He still isn't able to change that culture. That culture is coming up from way back from the Roman Empire, when the Germans were the barbarians who overran the Roman Empire. And then through the Dark Ages, they started to become feudal, and they became little dukes and kings and princes. That's evolution. No one managed that.
Yeah.
There's no boss of that. So you drop the cousin of Queen Victoria or King George in there and call him the Kaiser. He's still got to do what the will of the massive power of the German, we are Germans.
Yeah. No, but now getting back to your digital oracle, because one thing I liked about that, it would actually put a fix to what happened next after World War One, which is the rise of this guy out of Hitler. Yeah. So he got and he was able to, he was a confidence trick. So he was a good talker, and he was able en masse to almost convince the entire nation that they need to go to war.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's too much fixation on Hitler, because there were 100 Hitlers. There were 1,000 Hitlers in Germany at that time.
But it's almost like mass hypnosis, wouldn't it? But a digital oracle wouldn't do that, would it? It would bypass, because Hitler was self-serving and he was like a megalomaniac.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is that Hitler, in the same way as they talk about Donald Trump, Donald Trump just detected a whole group of people who were not part of not being respected in America.
Yeah.
All these people in the flyover states were being left out by all the intelligentsia on the west and east coasts of America. All the farmers and people who don't have fancy degrees and the ability to be a lawyer were being left out. And Donald Trump identified a forgotten people, and he just took advantage of that and surfed the wave of that. All Hitler did. Hitler was just some non-entity, a failed artist.
Yeah.
In the same way Zelensky is a failed comedian, But anyway, all he did was he identified a seething anger in Germany
He did.
They lost the war, a war they didn't really want to have. They didn't want the First World War. That got out of control and ended up with a brutal war. Everyone in Germany had either a friend or relative with missing a leg, or that died, or had been gassed. In Germany...
Well, with this film, All Quiet on the Western Front, I didn't know this, they had this technology in World War One. They actually had flamethrowers.
Oh, yeah.
So they were in the...
Yeah.
I thought, holy shit, that's one of the most disturbing scenes I've ever seen in my life.
Because Germany lost the First World War, because they were ganged up on, because they got all these...
they wanted to be made an example of, weren't they?
So the point of the matter is that in Germany, and you can see this documentaries of this, old footage. It's still going. Yeah, in Germany after the war, they had every train had a carriage with all the windows blacked out, blinds on the windows. That was for the injured soldiers.
Yeah.
Because their injuries were so grotesque that people couldn't look at them.
Yeah.
So these are young men, men in their 20s,
with their lives blown apart.
Was gone.
Yeah.
They had no eyes left. They'd been gassed, or they'd been burned, mutilated beyond the thing. They're on a crutch. Very unpleasant. Don't forget this. No.
Well, no. Okay. Well, you've because I want to wrap this up at some stage, but you've touched on something that I wanted to, which is the underlying point, which I wanted to make from from what I started, which was my grandson. I wouldn't want to have him give away his life just because of nationalism or what you want, or one guy who says, well. Or one guy like Hitler who says, well, you've such and such, you need to lay down your life for me and our country because that's for whatever reasons that Hitler outlined. But he was just it was for his self-serving purpose, wasn't it? So,
but see, an oracle,
you should not be conned by one human being. So your idea of having the digital oracle, it
doesn't play favourites.
The digital oracle hasn't got an ego, has it?
No, all it sees, you have to tell it what its job is, and that's what there's a thing called alignment. This is a whole study I'm mastering right now. I don't know if you even know, if I asked you to define alignment, I don't know if you could. But alignment is what you need with AI.
Yeah.
Okay, and what that means is it aligns with human values.
Yeah.
Because it could do anything. I could build an AI and say, I want you to destroy the human race. Yeah. And it would do it. It would, because it doesn't know right or wrong.
Wrong. Yeah, okay.
Okay. And it would probably be able to do it as well. So anyway, so what you need is alignment. So you're going to have an AI, hopefully. Its job is to, something's happened bad here, it's fucked up. The big message, the thing popped up. The warning message popped up.
Oh, that's all right.
Okay.
Is it still going?
Yeah, it's going. Okay.
Oh, we should wrap it up because we're running out of
what
battery.
I'm saying anyway is the alignment thing. Is the AI, its job is to optimize human happiness.
Yep.
Not human destiny, because there isn't any human destiny. The whole universe is going to just disintegrate one day to nothing.
Yeah.
Entropy. The whole thing of entropy you need. You have to master entropy to even start these discussions. But sooner or later the universe, but we'll have had a good run, okay. But I don't think it's possible for us to sit here enjoying a pint of beer while there are people right now. There's probably a child right now in some part of the world starving to death.
Yeah.
How's that right?
It isn't right.
It's not right. So us humans running the show, we're not doing it very well.
No.
And also why? Look at all the money being spent right now on weaponry in Russia and weaponry in Europe to give to fight Russia. What is the point of that? I don't know, because I don't hate either of those people.
Yep.
Why do they have to kill each other?
Yeah.
Over what? Over what?
Yeah.
Over Crimea. I must have Crimea back. What the fuck? Who said you can have anything? Who said that you can have... No, I don't remember saying that Zelensky can have Crimea. I don't remember saying Putin can have Crimea.
Yeah.
There's people live there. Why can't they just freaking live there?
No,
Why do we have to bomb everyone?
Take it, just to wrap up.
Yeah.
like I don't know if you agree with this statement, but taking human beings out of this leadership situation is not a bad thing, because King George, William II, Hitler. You could even throw in some, what happened in our day in Vietnam. Mistakes made by human beings. Having a digital oracle could be a way forward, because these people, as the person pointing the finger at me, telling that I'm wrong. There's always going to be people who are going to be telling you that. What's the word I'm looking for? I suppose that film, The Usual Suspects, puts it beautifully when he said, the greatest trick that the devil ever pulled was convincing everybody that he didn't exist.
That's right. Yeah.
And then, just like that, he disappears.
And this one, we got to be careful, because the thing running human race at the moment is a thing called Golem.
Yeah.
And this is literally a mindset that can be like the devil's mind. It's not the devil, it's the mass of human will that's going haywire.
Yeah.
And not one person controls that. So it's the madness of crowds.
Yeah, so similarly, with the German people following Hitler, they wanted to believe this guy.
Yeah, that's what else I was saying to you before. People say, what if he could have killed Hitler? Or what if I could kill Putin, right? They fuck up. They don't understand shit. Because the thing is that Hitler was created by the anger of Germans.
Yeah.
The Germans were at that point, they had the Weimar Republic.
Yeah.
They were all, there was depravity.
Yeah.
Disgusting depravity in Berlin.
The Deutschmark was worthless.
Yeah, but that's why, to deal with it, people were literally, children were being sold for sex slaves and horrible. Anyway, right. Anyway, we're done there. Yeah. Okay, right, we're done.